It's up in Scotland.
Oh, wonderful.
I think we are live now.
We're live now, yeah.
Yes.
Good.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Legacy Wealth Talk. Before we continue with our talk, we would like to acknowledge those who have been affected by the unseen coronavirus that has left people without clarity of what is going on across the globe. We have seen the leaders of our countries approaching the situation in different ways. Some have decided to lock down everything, but some have taken different approach, which has left families around the world with fear and confusion. Some families have lost their loved ones. Some are in hospital fighting the invisible virus. Being stuck at home all day and having no idea when this is going to end. Watching the news, things going bad to worse, can make quarantine really hard and stressful. At this moment, some people might be feeling powerless. We would like to continue praying, meditating for everyone around the globe, our frontline staff. My name is Nomsa Clara Mube. I am the founder of Hope Spring Eternal Introduction Agency. I have two experts with me, Jason Kemp, our resident panelist, and Dr. Biget Tan, our guest panelist. I'm going to let our expert introduce themselves. Also, they can lay out their professional credentials, expertise. Over to you, Biget. Dr. Biget.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Nomsa. So I am Bridget Tan, and I am based in Los Angeles, California. And I am a grief, recovery, and life success speaker, author, and coach. My specialty is helping people thrive through tough times and changes, such as now, and win with more ease and fun. And I actually have a book coming up called Seeking Peace, the proven 5 fingers method on how to thrive through changes effortlessly, because as Numsa says, right, now and in the future with life, changes do happen in our life. And thank you. I'm so very honored to be able to be with you today.
Thank you so much, Dr. Biget. Over to you, Jason. Can you please introduce yourself?
Certainly. Morning, guys. My name is Jason Kemp. I'm an NLP trainer, NLP master practitioner, and I'm a hypnotherapist as well. And what I do in my life is I help other people with their life issues, from various things, from phobias through to depression, anxiety, and stress. Those things I deal with as well. And I help people get out of their own way and set their own goals and become a better version of themselves.
Thank you so much, Jason. Dr. Biget, I have a question for you. If someone is grieving, our topic today is how to deal with grief. So if someone is grieving at this moment and they feel like the world is falling apart, so what tips do you have for that person?
Thank you, Numsa. So a few tips that I have. And I'll say it at the beginning and then I'll explain each point. And so the tips that I have is, the first one is to allow, and then to ask the 3 what question, and then to practice NATO. And to allow, the first things, Viktor Frankl says that, an abnormal reactions to abnormal circumstance is a perfectly normal response. And a lot of time when we are grieving, when something happened and then we're grieving, and then we thought or we feel that we are not normal, and that's add on to the grief, and we try to push it away or we try to resist it, but we know what we resist persists. And so what we want to notice is, actually, if we notice we're feeling sadness, we're feeling discouraged or really truly grieving, then we want to allow that and to just be kind to ourselves, allow ourselves some time to acknowledge it, to honor it, and allow ourselves some self-care and say, Okay, right now I'm really, really sad. I'm really, really sad. I navigate. You asked me earlier how I'm doing. I navigate through this whole changes quite well. I would say. I just kind of look at everything with curiosity, and actually very little things. Some adjustment, but not a lot of adjustment in my life, except one thing. I don't live with my sweetheart. My sweetheart and I live apart, which is a good thing because I'm actually what they call essential worker. I'm a doctor, so I'm exposed to this all the time, and so we're looking at each other and on online, and we're like, oh my God, we're probably not going to see each other for 2, 3, 4 months, partly because of my work. And I said, even though I was feeling well with everything, I was like, I don't like this part. Sucks. I did this part where I can't see him for so long. I'm sad about this whole thing. And I just allow myself to put that, like it's a whole evening. I'm like, he's usually here and I'm really sad. I'm not able to have him here. So allow ourselves to have that feeling and to acknowledge it, and then allow ourselves to have good self-care because we want to stay healthy. And also allow ourselves to receive help, to allow help if we are feeling down. Sometimes talking to somebody, letting our feeling out is something that can be very helpful. Talk to a friend, talk to a coach, talk to a counselor, write it down, and so allow ourselves to have help. So a lot of time, if you're feeling discouragement, might be positive message online. We have something called the neighborhood in here, and that people would post things like funny things or encouraging things and positive things. Those are all the kind of help that we can welcome in ourselves. And so that's the first one, is to allow our feeling and to honor it and to acknowledge it, and then allow ourselves time for it and self-care and help. And the second thing is to ask what I call the 3 what question. The first one is to ask, what's still good right now? With the COVID-19 pandemic and the lockdown, for some of us, there is a lot of things going on. Some of us don't even have income. But what is still good right now? Perhaps we are still able to breathe without a machine. Perhaps you still have clothing. If you are watching this, you still have electricity and have on internet access, and be grateful for what it is that we still have good right now in our life. Gratitude is the best, most effective way to lift our mood, to feel better. And so what's still good, notice 2, 3, 4 different things, and that we still have a home. At least we can stay home and stay safe, and then put it in gratitude, and it will allow us to feel good, to feel better, a little bit better, and so we don't drag down into despair. And then the second what is to ask, what do you believe in our subconscious? What do you believe in your subconscious about these whole situations? Because what's in your subconscious will influence your conscious mind and your choices and even your body. I was speaking at a different interview, or actually listening to somebody speaking, and the speaker keeps saying, like, this whole thing about the COVID-19 is such a pain in the neck. It's such a pain in the neck. And I said, oh dear, she's going to have a pain in the neck. And she actually like moving her neck in like such an uncomfortable way. So your subconscious mind will register if you are saying, everything is a chaos, which is somebody else I catch saying, everything is a chaos. Very soon your nervous system will register that everything is a chaos, and your nervous system will go into a thing that put you into an anxiety and panic mode. And so, and yes, we're not necessarily say we enjoy this thing, but perhaps just everything is just a curiosity. Everything is just a strange thing. And even if we want to take a step further than that, we can know that in Mandarin, in the Chinese language, the word crisis, which is a lot of time, this is a crisis for many people. The word crisis is actually composed of two characters, those Chinese character. The word crisis composed of two characters. The first characters mean danger or problems. The second character of the word crisis is opportunity. So crisis in the Chinese language or in Mandarin is danger as well as opportunity. And so do you want to see it as a danger, which then it will set us up our fight or flight system and get us into a nervous attack possibly? Or, if your thing is to fight, or if you're flight, then you cannot flight, then you will get depressed. Or do you want to see this as an opportunity? And I trained myself to see every crisis that I have with a curiosity and as a possible opportunity. So what do you believe in your subconscious is the second what. And then the third what is what possible good come out of this. And again, we go back to the opportunity, and it's just possible good. It's just, just entertain what is the possible good. What is it that it is that, how about a lot of people, because we are not able to go to the office, many companies now find way for their workers to work from home. Well, one possible good, which I know a few companies, at least here in the US, already saying that they're going to do that, is when they come back, they're going to reduce the amount that you have to be in the office, which means you can be doing less commute and be with your family a little more. Might still need to go to the office a little bit, but maybe not as much. And I know in London it's a little different, but here in Los Angeles, everybody drive and the traffic is horrendous. And we're like, oh, okay, you mean we don't have to sit in traffic for 2 hours at least 3 days a week? We'll take that. And so that might just be one example. And then the last thing that I mentioned is to practice NATO. That's NATO. And NATO is no attachment to outcome. And this is very powerful for us now, but also as we come back from lockdown, as we come back and everything start to open back up, we will notice that everything's different. The world's not going to be the same anymore. And if we are attached to how things are supposed to be, it will put us into a second roller coaster of emotions and grief. And so we say, what about if we prefer things to be in a certain way? But at the same time, if not, then we know that we're more powerful than our circumstance, and we can adjust and make the very best of it. So those are a few tips that I have to start with.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bigot. Jason, how do we let go of learning to deal with the loss?
I personally believe that loss is a very individual thing. So I can't tell you how you're going to do your own loss. We all live our loss our own ways. Some people express loss outwardly. Some people process all their loss in their own heads. And you know what? Either way is absolutely fine. It's right for you. Because at the end of the day, nobody else in the world has the right to tell you how to do your own version of loss. So how do you get over it? Well, you do it your way, and you take as much time as you need to take to do it. And of course, you can reach out to other people, professionals, for assistance and guidance. And even a phone call to your friend is often sometimes enough just to help take the edge of it off. You need to be in your own mind clear about where you want to go. It takes time to work out the path. But if you set yourself a focus where you want to be going with your intentions, and if it's positive, as Bridget was saying earlier on, people talk about pain in the neck, and they often get a pain in the neck. It's called organ language, and it manifests. So we need to look at ourselves and say, what do I want to do with this? How can I achieve the overwhelm? And what positivity can I draw from this loss? Of course, loss is a negative thing. Generally, it's seen as a bad thing, but there's always good from bad. So it's personal, very, very personal and private to how you process it yourself.
That's really true. I agree with both of you. Also, grieving can destroy a relationship as well if you don't deal with it properly, or sometimes it can be a good news or it could be bad news. It doesn't have to. In fact, it could be truly serve as a source of strengthening that relationship. Every grieving feels like a betrayal. When someone is grieving, they feel like everything is being taken away from them. The promises, the person you loved, let's say it's your mom, it's your child, or it could be your spouse, and that person is being taken away from you. There've been promises that you thought you're gonna visit that museum with the other person, but that promises, it will feel like it's been taken away from you. It can feel like a dream. But if you decide to look at things in a different way and view it in different way, it could help you actually. And I know sometimes people say, in time things will phase, but don't listen to those people that say in time, because grieving, it happens in stages. Sometimes there can be 4 stages or 5 stages of grieving. But if you work on that process, sometimes you might have bad days, or sometimes you have good days. It is okay to face it, but if you don't face it, then it will destroy the people that you love around you, because you will end up destroying them by shutting down your feelings. But if you decide to open up with how you feel in that process, you speak to a coach, or you can speak to a family member who is good with advice, who's not going to tell you what you want to hear, or you can simply speak to your spouse and explain your feelings as you are feeling in that process, because you need to work on them. And also, if you actually understand the 3 cause system of a human being, which is the conscious mind and the unconscious mind and the physiologically, psychologically system of the body, because when you listen to psychologically a system of your body, it produces chemicals. When you are sad, when basically you don't feel good, you're producing chemicals, and that can destroy you. It can destroy the people around you. But if you actually go with those stages with your grieving and say, today I am feeling bad, and actually acknowledge that you are feeling bad, it will help you with the process. I've lost so many people in my life, but I have had to actually let people know that I'm not feeling good. And that has helped me to let all the attachment go and work on the feelings that I wanted to keep, which are good memories that I wanted to keep with those people. And the bad memories is them being taken away from me. So that helps if you actually face the grieving. And also the other thing is, some people, what they end up doing, if you don't face grieving properly and you are in a relationship, you will end up wanting your spouse to behave like, let's say you've lost your mom, you've lost your father, you end up wanting them to behave like them, because your expectations, you still have that attachment, and that can destroy your relationship. So it's good for you to actually get rid of all the attachment and accept that this is what is happening. So can I ask you, Dr. Bigot, what can we do at the moment if we feel overwhelmed by our emotions while we are we are interacting with the other people during this coronavirus? There are some people that have lost their loved ones, but some people cannot be, in some countries, they are not allowed to go to the funeral, and they are locked down in the house. So what advice can you give us, please?
So a couple advice, couple tips that I have. If we are, say, we're doing something or we are interacting with somebody and just we felt overwhelmed by our emotion, whether it is sadness or sometimes it's anger or anything it is right in the moment. The first thing that I find work very, very well to calm our system down and kind of grounded us back to a more calmer state is to notice our breathing. Now, a lot of people recommend deep breathing, and that's definitely a wonderful thing to do as well. But you're not always able to do deep breathing, depend on the situation. If you're talking to somebody and you start deep breathing, and that can be a little bit awkward and disruptive. If let's say you are in a meeting, even if it's online, and you start deep breathing, it can be awkward and disruptive. And nowadays, if you, you breathe funny in front of people, they start worrying about you anyway. And if you are in the US here, some places, including Los Angeles, they ask you to wear a mask, and those masks are uncomfortable to be doing deep breathing. So if you notice your breathing, just notice and you can still be talking to them and listening to somebody, and you notice your breathing in and out, and in and out, and inhale and exhale. Just normal breathing, but just noticing the rhythm. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Even if you just do that for 3 to 4 rounds of inhale, exhale, it will immediately kind of center us back and calm us down from the overwhelming feelings of whatever it is. Not that it's a bad thing to have feelings, but sometimes we want to be able to stay a little bit more centered while we're interacting. So noticing our breathing, and if you can in the later on, and if you'd like to, because everybody do things differently, if you like to, you can definitely practice deep breathing to center yourself further when you have the opportunity. But at the very moment, say you are in public, say when you things start to open up, and we come back to work or go out, and we notice everything so different, and we feel overwhelmed in the in public. That's noticing our breathing. Just the in and out a few rounds, that alone can help us to feel a little bit calmer and immediately. And then if we are able to, a lot of time is to imagine the best possible thing. From there, once we feel calmer, so we don't immediately get into this back into the emotions. Imagine, if we are able to imagine the best possible things that can happen from the situations. Napoleon Hill says there is the seed of good in every adversity. And so we might not be able to try to look for the seed of good at the moment, but what would we love? What would we love at the very moment that's of whatever going on? What would we love as the outcome of this COVID-19 pandemic? So notice the breathing, and then it just, you can kind of immediately shift your mind. What's the best possible thing? This is not pleasant right now, but what's the best possible things of this? And a lot of time that will help us get a little bit more centered and take us out of the overwhelm mode.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I was reading his book actually a few days ago. He also says you are the master of your fate, or you are the captain of your soul. So I love him very much. Thank you so much, Dr. Bigot. Jason, how do we bounce back from financial loss? Because there are some lots of businesses during lockdown that are losing money. And even myself, my business, I am not making money. So I would love to hear from you. How can we bounce back? I know Dr. Bigot, she's got her own business, and Jason, you have your own business as well. So how do we bounce back after this?
That's a very interesting question. How indeed. So I think you need to stay loyal and true to yourself and true to your purpose. Don't start chasing rabbits, and don't start going off on a tangent trying to hike the prices through the roof. Because if you put your prices and things up through the roof now and misuse your clients and your customers, then they're just going to go somewhere else. You need to be loyal. You need to stay faithful and truthful to them. And then obviously if you continue providing them with the service now, then when this is finished with and they're all over and done with, then they're going to come back to you for your support and your guidance with some money as well to help rebuild your financial standings in all of the things. But yeah, you need to stay grounded. Imagine a big rod from your feet right through to your head and up to the moon. It's a big grounding rod there, as if you are actually glued to the earth. Remain grounded in all you do, and then they'll come back, and your finances will come back too.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jason. Yes, I'm gonna write down your tips. I'm gonna use them for myself. It is really tough for me. The tip that I have is, what do we do when during the grieving process? So first, if you are grieving, the grieving process, accept the loss of your loved ones. Sometimes it could be a shock or a denial response, but when you realize that person physically, they are dead and that you are not going to see them again, allow your heart to experience that pain. It's okay to experience the pain, and connect the love you had with that person. Appreciate the relationship you had with that person. Some people you might have had a good times, or you might have good and bad times with that person. But I think it's nice to actually appreciate that person who was in your life and accept the love that you have. And then also start re-imprinting. Then break. When you start re-imprinting the relationship, basically you are separating the sadness with love, and break the pain, separate love by letting it go completely. You keep love, you separate the sadness, and reprogram your subconscious mind to seek out the good memories you had with that person. When you do this, you let your unconscious mind know that you are not negotiating with the bad memories. The bad memories needs to go. The bad memories is the shock that you've just had, that this person, they're gone. You're never gonna see them again. They're dead. So you are not negotiating for your subconscious mind to keep those bad memories, because they will bring limitation in your life. They will limit your life. They will become a limited belief. So you don't want that. And when you do that, and then invite good energy with subconscious, invite the good energy to your subconscious. Let go of that person. When I say let go of that person, once you visualize, you have to visualize the bad memories, the pictures when you were told that person is gone, and the pictures, sometimes you go to the mortuary, you see them, and then you have the pictures when they are alive with you with good memories. So you have to visualize the pictures until your subconscious decide to keep the good memories. When you decide to keep the good memories, that is the future script that you are telling. You are telling yourself that this is what I'm keeping. This is the script that I'm keeping. And then you let go of the bad memories. Whatever the future script that you have decided to re-imprint into your subconscious mind, that is going to help you. You go over it and go over it until it becomes familiar with whatever it is. When you see it in the mirror, you smile because you have gone over the pain. If you can't do it in one go, you have to let it go and then go back to it again. You cannot do the grieving in one go. Some people think, why am I not letting this go? Why is this not happening? You have to let the process. You work on the process. If that day, some days you feel bad, you let it go, and then you go back to it on the other day, and then you start visualizing again, you let it go. For those who are Christian, I use the Bible, I use scriptures, and I use prayer. That's how I get deliverance, by meditating on the scriptures and meditating on the music, Christian music. And that's how I get deliverance. But for those who are not Christian, you use psychology for you to break away from this pain. And then you have your memories that you are going to keep and that you are going to remember with that person. That is your grieving process. Done.
Yeah.
So what else do you have? Any tips that you have, Dr. Beckett, to give to our audience?
Thank you. I love what you say. You know, we definitely, everybody grieves differently, and Jason said that as well earlier. Everybody grieves differently, and some of us, something happened, and you know, I have these things of when something. My best friend passed away before Christmas, and I tend to like sit down and cry for 3 days straight. And then that's it. But that's me, and that's not everybody. Some people goes through the ups and downs, and there is no timeline on this is happened, and you should only grieve for 3 days or 6 weeks or something. It's we all want to and that's a very important thing. If everybody experience this, even with the pandemic, even if you don't lose anybody that you know, everything is a change, and grief by definitions, grief is the conflicting feeling that can cause that come from the change in our familiar routine. So everything's changing right now, and it can cause us to grieve. And we want to remember that everybody different. You might be different, and that's the other tip. You might look at your sister or your spouse, and they responded in a completely different way than you are, and it doesn't make anybody good or bad. It's just we all different, we all need our time, and we all want to allow ourselves to experience what we need to allow. And then the other tip that I would say is to remember that this is a chapter in all of our life. It's not a fun chapter to be, but this is not the whole book of our life. Sooner than later, this pandemic will be over. And yes, things might not be exactly the same than beforehand, but you know, it's a chapter in our book of life, in the humanity book of life. We were all going to be in history book, seems to be, you know, but it is a chapter. And for a book, if you ever read a book, for a book to be fun, or even if you have ever watched a movie, for it to be fun and you know, a good book, a good movie has some good chapters, some really fun good chapter, and then they usually have a couple dark chapters as well, because otherwise it'll be kind of boring if everything all the same. And so this is a chapter in our life, and like both of you said, you know, and Jason in particular, hang tight there, stay grounded, and then it will be over. We will move on, and it's up to us how we're going to make the next chapter going to be. And we can have circumstance without circumstance having us. There is a lot of circumstance in the world, even day to day without COVID, there is a lot of circumstance in the world. But just like Eleanor Roosevelt says, all the water in the world cannot drown us unless it get to us. And I paraphrase that. Typically, I said, all the water in the world, all the circumstance in the world cannot drown us unless we let it get into us. And so just remember, you know, first is to always allow ourselves, honor ourselves, love ourselves, be what I said, a heart with ears, to just full of love and compassion, and listen to ourselves on what it is that we really need at this moment. And perhaps it goes to the bathroom, or go to the room, or and cry, excuse me, and cry. Perhaps it's go to where you can go safely and scream on top of your lungs. And so allow it to whatever it is that you need, that because everybody different, and to remember that this is a chapter, and stay grounded and not let circumstance drown us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I lost, I've only got my mom now. I've got my step parents and I've got my dad. I lost my two daddies and my stepmom and my grandmother. My grandmother, basically, she was like a mom to me. It took me a very long time to actually grieve. But the good thing in the process, the good thing about me is at home, my parents, they taught me to let it all out. So every time I feel sad, I'll just let it all out. If I want to scream, I'll just go in front of the mirror and just let it all out. Because if I hold it inside, it's gonna affect me for a very long time. And it was a process that I actually understand the steps that I went. I didn't go bad because I was aware. I had my goodbyes. I remember my dad saying, I need you to understand that I'm going. There is no way that you're going to see me again. So that helped me as well to say, okay, what do you want me to do? And he was like, I need you to accept this, that the doctors have given me so much time. And with my stepdad, he was like, I'm talking to the guy today, and then in a few days, I'm getting told the guy is gone. I'm thinking I'm losing the people that I'm close to. So else is going? So it's the process that helped me. Thank you so much. I hope there's someone else who is watching as well. Like in the chapter, when you are saying it's a chapter, for me, I felt like it was a chapter for me. And I felt that, okay, now I've got my mom. So I ended up calling her. Now she's mom daddy. So, so that was the chapter that I had to go through. Jason, any tips?
I'm going to extend grief and say grief's not just people you lose that have died. Grief is something that's changed in your life significantly. Maybe your partner's left you, or maybe you've had a divorce, or maybe you perceive somebody as having died. So grief is extended to all of that as well. Don't forget, it's not just those guys that have physically died, because I believe it extends more than that. And we can grieve over losing a job. We can grieve over losing a partner that's got somebody else. Or we can grieve over having a child that's moved away to Canada, for example. They're no longer here, but they are perceived as no longer here. Because they're perceived as no longer here, we grieve over them. So be aware of that too. Even though you haven't physically lost somebody, you may still be going through the grieving process. And it takes time, and you'll do it your way, but reach out if you need to. And if you need to do it inside your own head, that's absolutely fine.
Thank you so much, Jason. One question I need to ask you guys. There are some people who are at work, like because at work you get given a certain time to grieve. But when you go back to work, if you are still grieving, what action can you do or tips you guys have with the process when someone is grieving? Some people, they still have to go to work. They can't cope. Because of the company, they're not understanding that they need to take time. So what tips do you have? Is there any resources they can use, or?
Well, yeah, you can listen, be compassionate and listen to the guys. So if somebody's coming back to your place of employment and you're the boss, for example, and they've got grief and they're grieving, listen and be compassionate to what they're going through, and lend some understanding. That's what I would say on that.
So what I would say is a couple things. So if you notice your coworker grieving, the one and because everybody grieves differently, it's challenging to know exactly what they need, and sometimes we try to give them the best advice instead and ended up offending them or making them feel worse. So in general, everybody feel love and appreciated when they are listened to. And so if we notice somebody grieving, our coworker, the Grief Recovery Institute has something that they call a heart with ears. And so be a heart with ears, allow them to talk, just be a shoulder to cry on, and allow them to express as much of they want or as little of what they want, and just be there and send them love and be compassionate and listens to them. And many times we don't even need to give advice, because a lot of time people just need to be able to express. So if we have a coworker that grieving, then be a heart with ears. If we are the one that going back to work and was still grieving, and the company required us to go back to work, a couple things. But the first is to allow. I would say it's go back to the allowing. First of all, don't try to tough it up. If you're really still grieving and to the point you just cannot even function, then try to take the time off beside bereavement. Take a personal day off, take a vacation day or something, and then so allow ourselves that time. I actually had a time back in the past where before I know any better, the company said you have to come back, and I came back and tough it up, try to tough it up, and doing my work as an oncologist is, on top of grieving, it doesn't go together. And so I ended up back then become physically ill from trying to suppress my grief and tough it up. And so to allow yourself, take the time off. Back then, my physicians, actually a different doctors, to take me off work to grieve. So to allow ourselves to the time, if we really need to take extra time off and just take a sick days or something, if you can. And then the other thing is to allow ourselves to recognize, and perhaps if you feel an emotions coming up while you are at work, then just say, you know what, I need 5 minutes. I need 5 minutes to allow my emotions to go through this, and while we are at work, and to also to allow support from other people. It's not like we want to dwell in our grief, but sometimes if we share with our coworker, look, I have to come back to work, but I'm actually still feeling really sad and really down. And in general, people are there to help. We are here to help each other. And when we are honest, when we are open and be authentic on how we're feeling to others, they appreciate that. They appreciate the opportunity to be able to help us. And a lot of time, the people will jump in and say, do you need a moment? Do you need a little break? Do you need to go for a walk? And we bring you something. And so we share with others. With me, when something rattles me, I would share with my assistants. Look, I'm not even just grieving, with something else going on. I'm distracted today, or I just heard this news, or I'm grieving because I lost something, somebody dear to me, or a change. Like we say, so grief is not just a loss of a person, but any major change can cause us to grieve. So I'm not quite myself today. And also with the relationship, if we are being authentic and say, I'm not quite myself today. And when we are doing that, it's allow other people to understand if we suddenly get irritable, if we are a little forgetful or distracted or something, and they can step in, and then will allow us to step by step be able to move through it a little better. I think you're muted, Namsa.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Doctor. But I need to ask you this question. You guys, you got to keep the answer very, very short. Women are good for seeking help, but men, when they are grieving, it's tough for them because they feel like they are being defeated. They feel like they are not men enough. So what advice, Jason, can you give to any man who is watching? Because just because you are hurting, it doesn't mean you are not a man enough. The pain, whether you are a woman or a man, the pain is the same. So what advice can you give any men out there so that they don't actually grieve on their own, so they can seek help? What advice can you give them?
Wow. people have different belief values and belief systems, and some men are told to believe that to be a man you can't cry. I don't personally believe that, and I believe that if I'm upset, I'm going to cry. If you need to express your emotions, then go do that. Express your emotions. The help is available to you. People are there for you, and they love you just as much as you need. So if you need to seek out and reach out for them helps and advices, then do so. And there are also women that find it difficult to do that too. It's not a unisex thing. Just because they're men, roughly toughies, doesn't mean they can't express. And likewise, women doesn't mean they can't express. Everybody can express and show their emotions just the way that suits them right.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jason. I am those women. I never seek help to my family whenever I'm grieving, because they will tell me what I need to hear. So I always go to somebody that is going to tell me to actually face the truth and hit me so that I can actually the process. If I go to my family, they're just going to tell me everything is going to be okay, but that's not what I want to hear. So thank you so much, Jason. What about you, Dr. Bigot?
So for any men and women, and I used to be one of those women that would not go ask for advice. I actually would not even allow myself to cry. So this is what we all want to realize. It takes a lot more courage. So if you are a man, it's a lot more manly to be authentic. It takes a lot more courage for us to ask for advice. It takes a lot more courage for us to cry, because when we are asking for advice or we allow ourselves to cry, which is a really good thing when we're grieving, if you feel like crying, to allow yourself to cry, it's actually it takes a lot more courage. It takes a lot more bravery. So you are a braver man. You are more of a manly man. And you are a braver and more courageous woman. If we ask for courage, it put us in a spot where we can become vulnerable. And for us to be willing to be vulnerable so we can be better takes a lot of courage. In the book Seeking Peace, there is a whole section actually that discuss on, and it's allowing our body as well. Our body actually know when we need that, as you Numsa mentions, but it takes a lot more courage. It's to be able to face our grief and ask help or let ourselves cry. And when you are courageous, definitely you are a better man. You are more manly, and when you're courageous, you are also a better woman, so to say. So it takes a lot more courage to cry and to ask for help. So why not? If you are a man, you are courageous. And so let's ask for help and let's cry if we feel that we need to cry.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. For anyone who is watching, if you are grieving at this moment, or if you have anything that you want to let it out, we have Jason Kemp. He's our expert. You can get in touch with Jason. He will be able to talk to you. Even now during coronavirus, they are giving out sessions for free. And we've got our Dr. Bigot. If you really are grieving, you can get in touch. I'm sure they're gonna leave their details on the bottom of the video. If their details are not there, you can leave a message for Legacy Wealth Talk. We will get back in touch with you with whatever the question you have or whatever needs you have. For me, I would say, I was reading Napoleon's book. He says, rise above your own difficulties with courage and purpose. Resolute and unafraid. Don't be afraid. When you are going through challenging times, don't be afraid to seek help. When things are not going your way, don't be afraid to just sit down and take a breath and just be the person you want to be and say, I can't do this on my own, and seek help. That's what a human being does. Don't be like those people that say, I'm okay, I'm strong, while they are not. I am a psychologist myself. By a profession, I'm a psychologist. There are times where I need help. but I'm surrounded by these people. I seek help. I ask them, could you please help me? I remember I had some few sessions with Shazad because I was doing my assignment and I'm working. So I'm like, I need to be disciplined. So I had to say, hey, could you please help me? I need to be disciplined. I need you to hold me accountable. So you can ask for help. If you are watching, you need help. We've got experts here. Tarin, she's not here, and Shazad is not here today. They're not here today, but we have our 4 resident panelists who can help you, and we have our guest as well. Our guest, their job is to come here to add value to you guys. So make the most of it by asking them questions and by emailing them, request their emails and phone numbers and get in touch with them. For you to start a business with somebody, you have to get to know them and say, hey, I've got this problem. How do I solve this? They give you free tips. So next time, if they give you the tips that are valuable to you and they're working, next time you need somebody, you know where to go. So thank you very, very much, guys. Any word of encouragement you want to leave with your audience, Jason?
Be yourself and grieve your own way. Nobody can tell you how to do it. It's your own personal process. But if you need advice, need assistance, need encouragement and guidance, give us a shout, because we're here for you. You're here for us. And ultimately, you'll do it your own way.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I like that. To be yourself. Take your time. I like that. Be the person you want to be, not expected to be. I love that. What about you, Dr. Bigot?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, you know, it's a chapter. And while we're going through the dark chapter, just as Jason say, actually, just be who you are and allow what you need. You know, allow yourself what you need and be and become who you would want to be.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Bigot. I love that as well. Write your own chapter, hold the pen. Thank you so much. Live with grace, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.